Just ahead on Larry King Live, the incredible young star of the hottest movie of the summer, plus America's most famous psychic, and 3 major religious leaders to discuss life after death. Don't go away.
Do you ever feel the prickly things on the back of your neck?
Yes.
And the tiny hairs on your arm, you know, when they stand up?
Yes.
That's them.
Tonight, messages from beyond. What does surging interest in the psychic world say about our spiritual lives? Joining us from Chicago, the young star of the smash hit movie, The Sixth Sense, Haley Joel Osmond. In Washington, Sylvia Brown, author of the runaway bestseller, The Other Side and Back, A Psychic's Guide to Our World and Beyond. Then a roundtable with Reverend Bob Larson, TV evangelist and syndicated radio host. Rabbi Harold Kushner, who wrote one of the bestsellers of the 20th century, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And Father Michael Manning, host of the syndicated TV show, The Word in the World. They're all next on Larry King Live. Good evening. We start with Haley Joel Osmond, the star of The Sixth Sense. He joins us from Chicago. This movie has been #1 at the box office for 4 consecutive weeks, making over $20 million each week. It's going to hit the $200 million mark. And Haley Joel Osmond is already being talked about for... How old are you?
I'm 11.
You've been acting for a long time now, right? I mean, like since you're like a really young kid.
Yes, I've been acting since I was 5. My father is an actor, so I had been wanting to act ever since I had been old enough to understand the concept.
And what, Haley, what are you doing in Chicago?
Well, we're getting ready to do Oprah tomorrow morning, so and luckily we were here the day that we were going to interview with you, so I just happened to be away. 2
birds with 1 stone. You live in California?
Yes, I live in L.A.
Okay. When you were hired for this, the writer and director was with us. He told us that first he wanted a kid who wasn't an actor, and then finally he found you and couldn't believe it. Did you like this script right away when you read? Did you say I want to do this character?
Immediately, as soon as I read the script, and my dad and I had read the script, I knew that it was just phenomenal work. Knight's writing was unbeatable. I'd never read anything like it before.
Did acting come naturally to you, Haley?
Acting, I think I got the feel for it from my dad. He's a great actor, and he's been acting in stage for 12 years now. And I think I got the feel immediately. Dad's been helping me all the way, and it's come naturally. I think it's been passed down from my dad.
You were the little kid at the end of Forrest Gump, right?
Yes.
Did you do other movies as well?
I've done other movies. After that, I started out with TV shows, though. I did Thunder Alley with Ed Asner, and then The Jeff Foxworthy Show, and then Murphy Brown. But in between, I did Bogus with Whoopi Goldberg and Gerard Depardieu, and a couple television films, The Ransom of Red Chief, and The Last Stand at Sabre River with Tom Selleck.
Are you getting a lot of scripts now?
Well, we have been reading several scripts. We hope to be starting projects in October. We can't say anything for sure. We haven't signed on the dotted line. But we really, really, really hope to be starting something in New York in October.
Let's see a quick scene.
Okay.
Haley, this is where you come across the... Well, it explains itself. There's a little girl that kind of grabs you. Watch.
Yes.
That girl, by the way, plays someone who is recently deceased. Did you buy any of this? I mean, we're going to discuss it a lot after you leave us. Do you buy any of the concept?
I get most of them. Reading the script, it was more of a character piece and understanding Cole as a person. We didn't do much research before going to Philadelphia to film it because that's what the story is about, Cole's misunderstanding and his unwant of his ability. He's frightened of it. And really, it's not the greatest thing to go and to do a character who has no understanding of his disposition, and to have all the understanding. It really takes a lot of the heart out of it.
What did you think when you saw the finished product?
I enjoyed it. I liked seeing people in the audience's reactions to the scarier parts, and I liked seeing everybody's hard work come out on the screen, and to see what those 2 months in Philadelphia came out to be. And I was just really happy for everyone. I had a great time. I don't think I got scared at all.
Are you surprised at what it's doing?
I am very surprised. I thought that people would like it, but I didn't think that people would like it this much. With 4 weeks of people just keeping on to going and see it, I'm ecstatic that so many people were able to connect with it, because the film does have an important message. It really tells people about what bad things happen when you don't communicate with each other. So I'm glad that a lot of people connected with it.
Enjoy working with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, Bruce is cool. He's such a witty person. He's so funny. He can make any situation a laughable one. On the set, even the most intense days were made happy by him, and it helped since it was such an intense set.
Haley, when you're shooting, how are you educated? Do you have tutors? How does that work?
We do bring a tutor on every location that we go to when we're not in normal school. I do go to normal school when I'm not acting, and when I am acting, the tutor gets all the lessons from my normal teacher at home.
And how do your friends react to all of this, your 11-year-old buddies?
They think it's really cool. They've been out to see the movies, and this isn't new for them. It's happened before. I've been out of school.
Yeah, but not like this movie.
No, a lot of them have been scared by it. I took one of my best friends to see the premiere, not the premiere, but a private screening for me in LA, and he was really scared. He had nightmares for the nights after that. So I think most of them have liked the turnout.
You're obviously a well-balanced young man. You've got a terrific career in front of you. Is anything about it frightening to you, Haley? I mean, you've read, obviously you're a smart boy, that other young people who've been stars had problems develop. Do you worry about that?
I am careful of it. I'm worried that those things might happen to me, but thanks to my parents, I'm not too worried about it. I think they've done a very good job of balancing me, and as long as I listen to them, I think I'll do a good job.
Haley, we look forward to seeing lots of you, and one day we'll sit down live with you in the same studio. Thanks a lot.
Okay, all right.
Haley Joel Osmond, the star of The Sixth Sense. You might see him at the Academy Awards next year. On stage, getting one. Sylvia Brown is next. Don't go away.
I want to tell you my secret now. I see dead people.
In your dreams? While you're awake? Dead people like in graves and coffins?
Walking around like regular people.
How often do you see them?
All the time.
Larry King Live is brought to you by AT&T Net.Working. To make your business succeed.
Okay, with AT&T's new one-rate 7-cent plan, now your calls all day, every day are just 7 cents a minute.
Yeah? What about those nickel plans?
Okay, it's not always a nickel,
It's not.
During the day, that nickel can cost you a quarter.
making it no longer a nickel.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, but with AT&T, it's simple.
It's always 7 cents a minute.
24 hours a day?
Yes.
Every day?
Yes.
7 days, 7 cents?
Yes.
Do you want to explain it to him again?
I don't.
All day, every day. Call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll. just hope it's healthy.
I wish my computer wouldn't crash.
I hope they're playing land safely.
I want to live on the space station. I don't want to go to the hospital anymore.
I wish.
I wish I could get my email out here.
I wish my network had more bandwidth.
I hope we get 1 million hits.
I wish I could have done more. I wish the answers came quicker.
I want to see this interlude.
I wish I had more help.
I'd like to talk to my daughter right now.
I wish they had a cure. I wish.
Believe like a dream.
I wish I had more time.
Sometimes all that separates a dreamer from his dream is the right set of tools. Agilent Technologies. Dreams made real.
Picture this, a life without worry, where problems are quickly solved. Picture a future that's financially secure for you and the ones you love. Picture Nationwide, with auto, home, and life insurance products to protect what you hold dear, and retirement planning to help you prepare for your future. If you can picture it, Nationwide can too. Nationwide, insurance, financial services on your side. An equal housing opportunity insurer.
This is the second program we've done surrounding this film, but it deserves it. And if you haven't seen it, well, we can't tell you the ending, but you got to see this movie. Sylvia Brown is now with us. She's the author of The Other Side and Back, a psychic's guide. There you see it's covered, To Our World and Beyond. It was published by Dutton. It spent the past 2 weeks #1 on the New York Times bestseller list in the advice, how-to, and miscellaneous category. Sylvia, you've seen the film.
Oh, yes, I did see it. I thought it was wonderful.
Did you, were you able to understand what the child was going through?
Oh, absolutely, because, see, my family, we come from about, we've tracked back about 300 years of, I guess you want to call it psychic, except the word psychic means I don't know what anymore. But it was so amazing because if I hadn't had a grandmother who could help me, I would have gone through the same terror that he went through. That's why I took my granddaughter to see it, because she's psychic too.
You saw dead people as a child?
Yeah, I still do.
You went through what that kid went through?
That's right. Even when he brought the flashlight out, you know, I was so beside myself because my grandmother gave me a flashlight. She said, this will help you. Even to this day, at 63 years of age, I cannot sleep with all the lights off. Not because I'm afraid, it's just that the room is busy. You know,
why weren't you frightened? You said your grandmother helped you, but why weren't you?
Well, I was frightened, but she just said, we're like this, Sylvia. The whole family's like this, so we just see them and we talk to them and we tell them to go to God. We tell them to go to the light.
Now, the picture took a lot of license, naturally. Do you see them injured? Do you see them in pain?
Yeah, a lot of times. The ones that haven't made it to the other side, I've seen them in pain or confused or don't know they're dead. They're just, they think, and the one line in the movie, there's many of them, that I love so much is when the boy says to, Cole says to Bruce Willis, they see what they want to see. See, their environment is just exactly the way they left it. So in other words, they think we're inhabiting their space.
You realize, Sylvia, this is very hard to believe.
I'm sure it's very hard to believe. But so is love hard to believe. So is honor hard to believe.
But we want to believe it, don't we? Because we'd like to know that you don't
but you know,
die, that death isn't the end.
You know what's so amazing to me, Larry, is logically now, every religion, because I've studied theology all my life, believes that the soul survives. And yet when someone comes up and says, I've seen a spirit, everybody goes freaky. I don't understand the logic of that.
Well, religiously, and we'll be talking to them later, they should believe in this, right?
Well, because they believe in another life. See, I'm a Jewish girl. I taught in Catholic school for 18 years. I was going to be a nun. I come from a Lutheran Episcopalian background. So, I mean, I'm sort of a world religion walking around.
Why you, Sylvia? Why do you see them and I don't, do you think?
I think I have to believe scientifically as well as from God, because I believe everything comes from God, I think it's a genetic fluke. Because my son, Christopher, has it, my granddaughter has it, my grandmother had it, her mother had it, my great-uncle had it. I mean, I think it's genetic.
I don't know how many people have died since the planet began, but you must be a very busy, berserker lady if they're all around.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, see, when I was younger,
we're overpopulated with the living.
like the young boy, I couldn't turn it off like I could. You know, when I got to be about 19, I began to be able to...
You could turn it off and on.
Yeah.
You're not seeing them all around us now.
Well, I saw a small woman around you when I first came in. You know, a very small little woman. But I don't choose to always do that because then you're too, you know, then you get too disconcerted. It's just
well,
like...
how can you tune it out? My mother was a small little woman. She's dead 23 years, but let's say she's here, right?
Yeah,
let's say,
yeah.
for example.
She has very sharp features. She has deep-set eyes.
How can you tune that out? I mean, how do you...
I chose to see it around you. But if I choose now to sort of, like I say, blink it out, I can.
Do you like what you have?
Sometimes, Larry. I think sometimes it's a blessing, and sometimes, I don't want to say the word curse, but sometimes it's very hard.
There are days you wish you didn't have.
That's right.
We'll be right back with Sylvia Brown, the famed psychic with a #1 best-selling book, 3 religious leaders later. Joan Rivers tomorrow night. Don't go away.
Ditech.com puts extra cash in your pocket with their new 125% second mortgage with 0 points.
Use our second mortgage to consolidate bills, pay college tuition, give your daughter that wedding she's always wanted.
A 125% loan means you can borrow more than the value of your home. And 0 points means you'll save a lot of money on closing costs.
That's up to $150,000 in your pocket.
Log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-71-FIXED.
There comes a point when one more sequin will ruin the dress, when one more brushstroke will spoil the painting. There comes a point when anything more is simply more. Park Avenue by Buick. Power, comfort, unparalleled elegance. And now, Park Avenue is even more rewarding. It's luxury, pure and simple.
Joe and Phil both know an important call can come at any time. Because he's a courteous guy, Joe's turning his cell phone off. Phil's leaving his on, which isn't going to win him any popularity contests. But Joe has SkyTel, so even when he turns his cell phone off, a SkyTel operator converts the caller's message to text and sends it right to his pager. So while Joe is looking at the movie, Phil is looking for the exit. SkyTel puts you in control. Can your pager do that?
Trust. It's not bought, found, or handed out. It's earned. So when a natural supplement company asks for your trust, make them earn it. Ask if their products are safe, clinically proven, recommended by doctors, and guaranteed. Like Ginkgoba for memory, Ginsana for energy, and Movana for mood support. You can trust them because they earn it. Pharmaton Natural Health Products. Supplements that work. Period.
I never like to get personal on the show, but just during the break, you said that my late mother is looking down at my little 5-month-old boy every night.
That's right.
And like communicating with him.
Yes.
My wife took him to see her grandmother, who's later on in years, doesn't speak much, and they were communicating by sight.
That's right.
What is that? What
Telepathy.
And how can a child do it?
Because, you see, life makes a circle. We're just, when we first come in, we're just directly from home, which is heaven, or the other side. And then when we get older, we're making the circle. So both are meeting right here.
So the grandmother knows the boy?
Absolutely.
And the boy knows my mother?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because we all knew each other on the other side. We all know each other. We just were created the minute we came in our mother's womb.
And they can contact without speaking?
Absolutely. It's telepathic. With their eyes, you can almost see it with their eyes, how they look at each other.
Is it something to worry about or to be blessed with?
Oh, no, it's blessed. You see, nothing that God makes that's that beautiful could ever be bad. God doesn't make junk.
Do you ever work with, like, police?
Oh, yeah, I have 250 cases, in fact, right on my... there's a lot of cases I've solved right on Montel's show.
Yeah, you've been on Montel Williams, like on numerous ones.
Yes.
Yeah, give me an example of something you would solve.
Well, there was a woman that came that wanted closure on her son that was killed, and I said that there was 2 lakes together. I said, I'm pretty sure it's in Pennsylvania, and there is a space in between, and there is a tree, or name of a tree. Well, she knew exactly what I was talking about. I didn't know. And they went to, it was called Willow, I think. And there, I said, on the left pond is where your son is, and they found him. I also cracked the ski mask rapist case. I also found a girl in Seattle. I mean, it just goes on and on.
The grandmother in the movie visits the boy telepathically, and he sees her.
That's right. And he gives her messages to mother.
And you say that my mother can visit my little baby son. And what is happening during those occurrences?
She's telling him that she loves him, that she's playing with him. You watch how, when your wife at one point is holding him, he'll look over her shoulder.
Oh, yes.
And start smiling and looking up at a corner.
At what? I say it's a tree.
No, there can be nothing back there, let's say.
Sometimes it's a wall.
Yeah, but your mom's there. See, and she could be going, or, you know, I love you, or whatever, and he's responding.
And the dead people are experiencing joys?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Are they also experiencing unhappiness?
The ones that didn't make it to God, the ones that didn't make it to the other side, the trauma deaths, the suicides, the people who are didn't really realize.
How about when a bad thing happens to someone on Earth? Does the dead person grieve?
No, they can't grieve because they know that you're charged.
So they have no bodies, right?
Well, they do have a body. They
have a body. As a movie, they have bodies.
They do have a body. They absolutely have a body. We're real over there. But they don't grieve because they know your chart. See, everybody has a chart when they come in by God. It's a contract. It's the same as our Lord going to Gethsemane and wanting out of his contract. He couldn't get out of his contract either. We know that. He asked God, please let this be removed from me. What did God say? We don't know exact words, but we're pretty sure he said, no, sorry.
You like to talk about taking fears away from people, right?
Oh,
fear of sin, fear of being judged.
Fear, yeah. I think there is innate goodness mostly in mankind. There has to be laws, but we get so much into this sin and fear and hellfire damnation. See, why do we make God more loving? If we fear God, why can't we just love God?
What do you think, Sylvia, happens to Krishna will be on later? The rabbi wrote, why do bad things happen to good people?
But if they happen to bad people, who cares?
What happened? Where's Hitler now? What's he doing?
I'm sure Hitler had to come back in and in and in and in. I don't think he ever stops.
He's around?
Oh, I'm sure he's around. You see,
now wait a minute.
Now,
you're either dead or you're
no. Now let's say, when you and I die, we go directly through the tunnel to the other side. When they die, these bad people, they come right back into utero, right back into utero. They horseshoe.
The boys from Brazil.
Yeah, that's why this is their domain. That's why they seem to exist so well. Nothing bad happens to them because this is all they have.
You accept the concept of the bad seed?
Oh, certainly I do, because I am convinced this is hell.
We'll be right back with Sylvia Brown, author of The Other Side and Back. And then following Sylvia, we'll meet Rabbi Kushner and Father Manning and Reverend Larson. This is Larry King Live. We'll include some phone calls for Sylvia right after this.
We were supposed to draw a picture. Anything we wanted. I drew a man. Got hurt in the neck by another man with a screwdriver.
You saw that on TV, Cole?
Everyone got upset. They had a meeting. Mom started crying. I don't draw like that anymore.
How do you draw now?
Draw people smiling, dogs running, rainbows. They don't have meetings about rainbows.
Rust-Oleum, the ultimate defense against weather.
There are people devoted to the natural beauty of wood. They know how to protect that beauty. To you, we dedicate the full line of Olympic wood care products, each specially formulated to fit every wood care need. always look for the name you trust. Olympic, for all the beautiful wood in your home.
Welcome to the World Wide Web. And what a tangled web we weave. With so much traffic, the superhighway can become a parking lot. So Agilent Technologies makes systems and components that help turn internet gridlock into open road. It's a driver's dream.
CNN and Entertainment Weekly, part of CNN's Primetime News Magazine series. Thursday at 8 Eastern, CNN and Entertainment Weekly explores showbiz trends and personalities. CNN and Entertainment Weekly, Thursday, 8 Eastern on CNN.
Sylvia, why is this suddenly so in? Psychics go through waves, and now it's up in, big time in.
I don't think. I guess it could be psychic, but I think people are in a spiritual search, and I tell people, you know, because I'm not religionistic, but I'm religious and spiritual, and I say go to your churches, your synagogue, whatever makes you happy, but let's. You know, I think it's because people are searching. And yeah, this millennium thing with everybody thinking Y2K, which is such a joke, and that the world's going to come to an end. Nothing's going to come to an end.
You believe in God?
Oh, my goodness, yes, I believe in God. And I believe, yes, absolutely.
Is there competition? What do you think of the James Van Pragues and the Rosemary Altias and the John Edwards who do what you do?
Yeah, I think they're all good. I think they all have a message to give. I think they all, I'm sort of the old warhorse of the group. I mean, I've been around longer. I've researched more, I think, than they have. 48 years. I just don't accept things just for face value.
You see clients?
Oh, yes.
And help them how?
I tell them about their life, help them get through phobias, fears.
Isn't there some danger in that? I mean, you're not a psychiatrist.
Oh, no, but I never, see, you can't ever claim to be. That's why I work with 204 doctors. You have to have a referral. You can't ever suppose to take on
Middlesburg, Kentucky, as we include some phone calls for Sylvia Brown. Hello.
Yes, Larry. I'm calling. I'd just like to ask Miss Brown, why is it that she seems, all the psychics say that dead people or spirits come back to see them and talk with them. Instead, why wouldn't they come back and talk to their children or members of their family? Because there's nothing that I would give more than to be in contact with my mother, who died 2 years ago. And my granny...
There's a good question. Why would her mother talk to you and not to her?
But you see, the thing about it is, what I'm seeing more and more, dear, is that people are, I guess I want to say, coming out of the closet and telling me about, yes, they did have this vision, and they've been so frightened by it. But your mother does come, and she does sit on your bed, and she does come in dreams. So, you know, you don't always have to have a 3D, because sometimes that's very frightening.
Can she get in touch with her mother?
Yes, you just talk to them. You just talk to them. You don't have to go into a canopy or, you know, light 50 candles and do a thing. Just talk to her all the time because she hears you.
We'll take a break and we'll take some more calls for Sylvia Brown, and then we'll meet Reverend Larson and Rabbi Kushner and Father Manning. This is Larry King Live. Don't go away.
You got the spot. Head up. Something you were looking for, baby?
Pop-Tarts.
They're right here.
Sunday, journalists risking their lives to tell stories of war and conflict on the Emmy-nominated Dying to Tell the Story. Continues Sunday, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Stars has more new hit movies in prime time. Movies you'll see first on Stars and only on Stars.
Right now, Oscar De La Hoya has one thing on his mind: being the first to beat Felix Trinidad.
It's not enough to be the undefeated champion, because Trinidad is too. They're two warriors in peak condition, at the height of their power, and this is the ultimate showdown. De La Hoya versus Trinidad, live on pay-per-view, September 18th.
Use your remote to order.
To be the best, you've got to beat the best.
Sports Tonight with Fred and Vince, 11 Eastern on CNN.
One thing you do, Sylvia, is a little wacky. You make predictions, right?
Yes.
Okay, you predict the stock market will take a dip in November. Cancer will be eradicated in the next 100 years. The office of the presidency will be eliminated. The West Coast and parts of the East Coast in 2026 will have huge tidal waves. Atlantis will begin to reappear. Where do you see this? How can it be preordained?
Everything is preordained by God. God knows everything.
Why not walk the street against a truck?
Well, no,
You're gonna be hit, you're gonna be hit.
No, because people wouldn't do that. If it wasn't in your chart, you wouldn't do it.
No, what I mean is, if the truck is going to hit you, it's
oh,
going
well,
to hit you
that's
anyway.
true. That's true.
So, why stop at the red light?
Because that's just a survival mechanism.
But it don't matter if it's preordained.
No, but see, normal people don't do that. Just run out and attempt fate.
But why don't you? Because you know.
No, I don't know anything about me, Larry.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No, if that was the case, I would be. I don't.
I worry about you, Sylvia. That's all.
No, I'd win the lotto, and you know.
San Diego, hello.
Yes, hi, Larry. I would like to ask Sylvia if the mentally disabled can communicate with spirits or have any special gifts.
Yes, they do, dear, and and I did do a lot of study with that. You know, I've studied a lot with psychiatrists and psychologists and priests and everything, and they really, really do. They seem to have almost a savant ability, because you know it's sort of like Helen Keller. When other senses break down, it seems that the let's call it the third eye or the sixth sense really picks up.
Cleveland, hello.
Yes, good evening. I had two friends murdered, one 20 years ago, one 25 years ago. I've always felt their presence in my heart, but now their presence has intensified to the point that I feel they want me to do something. Is it normal for them to stay around for so long?
Were the murders solved, ma'am?
One of them was.
And well, sort of. It isn't that they're earthbound. I think we're going to get, I don't want to get esoteric with you. It's a period of time in which they go through orientation. In other words, they really get themselves over there and in full embodiment. And now they're coming around to try to give you some solace.
Sylvia, when she calls in
yes.
and says to you that she lost two friends,
right?
Why do you think suddenly they come to you, these two? What do you see when she calls in that doesn't get in the way of what the man with the camera
I don't know, Larry. That's a question that's been asked me. For instance,
it's why
Larry,
there are skeptics.
That's right. If I said to you, Larry, or any of the other people on the panel, how are you the way you are? What would they say? Like the same as you'd say, I don't know because I am. See, I struggled with this for many years because I grew up in like I said, a Jewish Catholic home. And I remember Father Nato said to me when I was in college, St. Teresa, he said, Sylvia, why don't you finally just leave it alone? You're not going to pick it apart. It's part of you. And I don't know how I do it. It's just the question augments the answer.
So you just do it.
Well, I've always stepped aside and said, God, you do it.
Do you think this movie will increase the interest?
I think the same thing as Ghost did, yes, because I think people...
But Ghost was a kind of romantic...
Yeah, it was, yeah. But I think...
Story.
The only thing that I think I would have liked to have seen is, and, you know, who am I to say anything about the movie, because it's marvelous, breaking all records.
Don't give the ending.
I won't. But I think that he could have been able to maybe talk some of those people over. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, the boy.
The boy. But he didn't have enough. He was young.
Only a kid.
That's right. But they could have inserted something to help him.
You talk people over?
Oh, sure I do.
By what?
By saying, go to the white light of the Holy Spirit, go to the Christ consciousness. God is waiting for you. Go through the tunnel.
They're dead and they don't see it. You're alive and you see this thing that they don't see.
That's right. Because I know that we all have to go through the tunnel, so to speak, if we want to use that symbolically to get to God.
Are there days you doubt this?
Oh,
are there days you think,
I'm probably the most skeptical person in the world. See, I always said to my grandmother before she died, why me? I was always taught in science. I was a teacher of children. I said, I don't want this.
Sylvia, you're quite a lady. We look forward to many trips with you. And I mean here and wherever you take us. Sylvia Brown, the book is The Other Side and Back, A Psychic's Guide to Our World and Beyond. When we come back, Reverend Bob Larson in Denver, Rabbi Harold Kushner in Boston, and Father Michael Manning in Baton Rouge. The subject is the same, the sixth sense. Don't go away.
High roads of the future.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Art is life, and people have to see themselves in that and have compassion for that.
Art is whatever is aesthetically moving. I use in the common, ordinary phrase, the wow factor.
En el próximo milenio.
In the next millennium, the artist and humanity in general will be more conscious precisely of the fact that art transcends time.
Conciencia justamente de que el arte no tiene tiempo.
What won't change is that art comes from and stems from previous art, and there really isn't much that's new under the sun.
I see more and more people turning from the mainstream established processes of art and wanting to find alternatives, and this is one of the alternatives. It's more collaboration, more projects that involve the community, and building community and strength through the arts.
New technology certainly will come up. Art on the internet, art made electronically, art digitally manipulated. I don't think there's any rule that tells us it should go in any one direction.
How the artists make art will determine how people consider art to be.
This Voices of the Millennium is brought to you by Sir Speedy. For outstanding printing, copying, and digital services, call Sir Speedy.
It's time for the world to go to work. A brochure is emailed to Sir Speedy for printing, a manual for electronic copying, a report for output. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, people down the street, across the country, and around the world use the internet to do business with the Sir Speedy Global Digital Network. If hundreds of thousands of businesses trust Sir Speedy, chances are we can handle your documents. Call Sir Speedy, the Printing, Copying Digital Network.
Okay, we know there are enough calling plans on this planet.
Yeah, it's way too complicated. Make it simple.
I will. You see, with the new AT&T One Rate 7-cent plan, it's nothing but simple. It's 7 cents a minute all day, every day, whenever you call. There are no 10 numbers to dial.
Or those nickel rates that are sometimes a quarter.
No, that was not me. With AT&T One Rate, it's simple, period. So what was confusing is now not.
I like simple.
Simple is good.
And tomatoes.
Even better.
All day, every day. Call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
A thought for those of you married to your job. Every once in a while, have a fling with your wife. Royal Caribbean, like no vacation on earth.
Rust-Oleum, the ultimate defense against weather.
Now, get breaking news, preview the markets, catch the scores, check the forecast, and do it all before you head out the door. Early edition, first with the news you've been looking for. Weekdays 7 Eastern on CNN.
Three members of the cloth, distinguished members of the cloth, now join us to discuss this increasing phenomena. In Denver is Reverend Bob Larson, the famed evangelist, host of his own TV and radio shows, and popular author as well. In Boston, Rabbi Harold Kushner, who wrote one of the best-selling books ever, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Father Michael Manning. He hosts The Word in the World, a syndicated TV show seen on Trinity and Odyssey and Cornerstone Television. All three have seen the film. We'll start with Reverend Larson. What did you think of the movie?
Well, I thought it was very bad psychology, and it was horrible theology. This
The shrink wouldn't know a psychosis if he saw it, and worse than that, he's absolutely ignorant of what the Jewish and the Christian scriptures have to say, that this form of practice, spiritualism, mediumship, and necromancy, is absolutely forbidden. In fact, in ancient Israel, it was a capital offense. And the Bible in the New Testament tells us it is appointed unto a man once to die, and after this the judgment. There was just absolutely no theistic universe at all in this movie.
So, Reverend Larson, when Sylvia Brown said that while ministers and priests and rabbis preach an afterlife, they want it to be on their terms, not on other people's terms.
Well, Sylvia wants it to be on her terms and the touchy-feely New Age terms of today instead of on God's terms. I mean, we've had thousands of years of revelation of the Jewish and Christian scriptures, and institutionalized religion has been a great humanitarian benefit to humanity. It has proven its worth in its message regarding the afterlife. So I don't know who these people come lately are that suggest they get vibrations from another world out there. And it's very interesting to note, Larry, there's nothing ever of a consequence of a judgmental nature. Everything is all gooey and gushy, but there's never any accountability. Hitler's just getting to come back and get another chance.
Rabbi, what did you make of the film?
Actually, Larry, I was less interested in the movie. I thought it was well acted. More interested in the success of the movie. What is it that people like so much about the movie? My theory is it's 1999. Not only are we counting down to the millennium, but all those baby boomers who were born between, what, 1946 and 1952, they're turning 50, their parents are dying, they're starting to feel their mortality. This is the generation that has always had the power to define American culture. In the 60s, these are the people who latched on to Elvis and the Beatles. Movies were made for their age group. Everything was done for their age group. Now that they're turning 50, they're saying, I refuse to believe that death is the end. I have to believe my life goes on after that. Other people's lives go on. And they found enough people to say to them exactly what they want to hear.
Reverend Larson says that's bad. Do you think it's bad? Hey, let's say you see this movie and believe it, or you listen to Miss Brown and believe it. Is that bad?
Oh, Larry, I think when I was younger, I would have been dismissive of Sylvia Brown. As I get older and more charitable, I'm prepared to say maybe it happens. What worries me, and very close to what Bob Larson said, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Amos told people what they needed to hear, not what they wanted to hear. And I'm suspicious of people who bring this message of everything is wonderful and everything is love. I try and tell people not to be afraid of death. I try and tell people that the spirit, because it's non-physical, cannot die. But I think they have to face the reality of the fact that when a person dies, the link is severed. It's harsh news. It may not be the happy ending we want. I think this is what goes on. Where are the people we love? They're in our hearts. They're in our memories. We talk to them. We hear their voices. We do things they taught us to do. But this idea that they're sitting on our beds and smiling at us, gee, that's a little hard for me to take.
And Father Michael Manning, your thought. First, what did you think of the movie?
Well, I was moved by the power of certain things, the whole thought of life. I think people in the world are hungering for the possibility of life after death. And as a Catholic, I believe that once a person dies, and if they're in the state of grace, they do continue to live. And we pray to saints, we pray to the Blessed Mother who intercede for us. And this is an ability to be able to communicate. It's real. I also found a real challenge with regard to the concept of purgatory, accountability. There was a crime that was committed in the film, and yet all of a sudden there was a call to accountability. I think we need to realize, and people are hungering for that, to know that once you've done something wrong, you can be forgiven, but there's an accountability.
Are you surprised at how well it's doing?
Well, I'm really thrilled that the idea of life after death is starting to take hold, and also the accountability, and also the thought of dreams. No, I think it's good. Yes, why not?
Now, Reverend Larson, why? I know you think that psychics need exorcisms themselves, and they're kind of charlatans or possessed by demons. But if you see this film, and while it's thrillingly done, and you may not like it or not like it, but obviously some people like it.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Okay. Oh, you do admit it's a great. If you come out saying
it was extremely well done, extremely well done, powerful.
If you come out saying, you know, there's something after this, what's bad about that?
Well, I believe there's life after death.
You come out with more hope than when you went in. What's bad?
Yeah, but the question, Larry, is what is your hope in? One of the reasons, I mean, God had a very good reason for making this a capital offense. It is a very severe thing to toy with people at a vulnerable time in their life when they're in a state of grief and to offer them a false kind of hope. And I agree with what the rabbi said a moment ago. That's a dangerous thing to do. What's even more dangerous is to evade the fact of moral accountability. The Christian and Jewish faith is taught, you have one shot. You live your life right and accountable to God, and then that's it. You face your eternal reward or damnation. In contrast, these people go through a tunnel, end up somewhere. She doesn't even tell us where the other side is. And these people who come back from the dead, I'm sorry, Larry, I do believe they are evil spirits masquerading as departed people, simply trying to turn the focus away from the true and living God to get people into a feel-good religion rather than the objective revelation of faith that tells us our eternal destiny.
We'll be right back with more of our panel. We'll include some calls for them as well. Don't go away.
Okay, with AT&T's new one-rate 7-cent plan, now your calls all day, every day are just 7 cents a minute.
Yeah? What about those nickel plans?
Okay, it's not always a nickel.
It's not.
During the day, that nickel can cost you a quarter.
Making it no longer a nickel.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, but with AT&T, it's simple.
It's always 7 cents a minute.
24 hours a day?
Yes.
Every day?
Yes.
7 days, 7 cents?
Yes.
Do you want to explain it to him again?
I don't.
All day, every day. Call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
There are people devoted to the natural beauty of wood. They know how to protect that beauty. To you, we dedicate the full line of Olympic wood care products, each specially formulated to fit every wood care need. Always look for the name you trust, Olympic, for all the beautiful wood in your home.
Sunday on CNN Perspectives. Every day, all over the world, journalists risk their lives to tell stories of war and conflict.
If there's no picture, there's no story. It might as well not have been there.
And every year, some of them lose their lives. Go behind the scenes to meet the men and women for whom the desire to tell the truth is worth the ultimate price. On the Emmy-nominated documentary, Dying to Tell the Story, continues Sunday, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Introducing a space-efficient, remarkably upgradable computer from NEC. The evolution of the computer ends with Z. The new Z1 from NEC with an Intel Pentium 3 processor.
Reverend Larson, you will admit that, back to you, you do exorcisms and you take the devil out of people. You've been criticized by people. People say that you are not dealing in biblical truth, that you do a little circus of your own, playing upon people who are in desperation or need. How do you respond?
I respond, come and see it happen. I mean, in the last year or so, I've made more than 90 public appearances, performing public exorcisms in front of thousands of people, in front of television cameras with the media watching over my shoulder. Anybody is welcome to see that. In fact, many of those exorcisms have been necessary because people tried to communicate with the dead, crossed over that line that cost King Saul his life in the Old Testament, and in doing so, opened them up to a spiritual dimension that caused spirit possession. You know, Sylvia pointed out something very important. The sins of the fathers are visited unto the 3rd and 4th generation. Her family's living under what's called a generational curse, and these psychic attachments are going to continue until somebody professes faith in God and breaks it.
Rabbi, isn't there an element in the Jewish faith that also, if not exorcism, believes in taking out the bad spirit?
Larry, by now you know that any time you ask a rabbi, doesn't Judaism believe this, the answer is going to be yes. Some Jews believe that and some Jews believe something else.
No, but isn't there a sect of Judaism?
There is a very marginal belief in a dibbuk, an evil spirit that takes possession.
Yeah.
But that's not serious. That's entertainment. That's really on the fringes of Jewish theology. No, we understand that there are people who are mentally ill and people who are not responsible for their behaviors and people who, I can't understand the mechanisms of it. It's probably chemical, hormonal, but this is not really what we're talking about. I have to insist that people are responsible for what they do.
Right. Do you think this picture could be harmful?
Only to the extent that it costs $7.50 to get in. That's the worst damage it's going to do somebody.
Okay, it's not going to harm anybody, and it's
I really don't
entertaining.
think so. No, no.
Okay. Father, does not the Catholic Church believe in exorcism?
We certainly do. Every bishop is going to be open to the possibility, although you're going to find not an open door to saying it's going around a great deal. I personally believe that Satan is real, but he probably works more with good people, pulling them away from the power of the now to worrying about 5 minutes ago or 5 minutes in the future, and not really living the power of the now.
Does your church condemn what Sylvia Brown does?
The concern is that we're starting to lose trust in God and this manipulation of God. I agree with Pastor Larson. We've got to be very careful with that. This channeling and controlling seems to be moving away from the basis of the Bible, which is real trust in God.
And that's a fear you have too, right, Reverend Larson?
Well, the prophet Isaiah said, why do you seek after mediums and spiritualists who whisper and mutter? Why would you seek after the dead when you have a living God? And I think that's the real issue here. We're being turned away from the reality of a living God who loves us, cares about us, wants to intervene in our lives. I'm troubled by this fatalistic idea that Sylvia has that you've got some type of chart and leaves out the power of human choice and moral judgment.
All right. Rabbi, it's because, isn't it, we see so many horrible things. We might say this living God lets a lot of bad things happen.
Well, I think
you wrote a book about it.
Yes, I did. Out of a personal tragedy, a lot of bad things happen. I don't think God...
You lost a child.
Yes, we did, at the age of 14 from a very rare disease. And I will say I've dreamt about Aaron in the years since he died, but I don't believe his spirit comes and visits me and gives me messages. I think we buried his body in 22 years in the course of time. I imagine it's decayed and turned back to soil. His spirit is very much in my heart. There hasn't been a day in 22 years I haven't thought about him, but I don't believe that he's Casper the Friendly Ghost out there somewhere in the ether. No, I think God's role is to comfort us when we need comforting, to guide us when we need guiding. What I don't like about Sylvia Brown's theology is this idea of the chart, and I'd agree with Bob Larson, that everything has been determined. It's what you said about why should I wear my seatbelts. We make choices, and we bear the consequences of those choices. Some things happen to us we don't have power over, but that's not the same as saying that the script has been written and we're just playing it out.
Wouldn't you like to know he's there? Not Miss Casper. Wouldn't you like to know he's with you now?
He is with me now.
Hearing you?
No, because I think once he died, without eyes, how can he see me? Without ears, how can he hear me? I believe that the spirit exists in a non-corporeal way, which I can't understand. And very frankly, Larry, I hope it's many, many years until I get to experience what it's like.
Father, do you believe that your departed are with you?
Very much so. I believe that once a person has died, as a Catholic, I believe that if you're filled with the Holy Spirit and you die, that spirit doesn't go away and it continues, even though you don't have a physical body, so that I'm able to turn to, let's say, my mom who's passed away and ask her to intercede with the Lord for me. I believe that the Lord has given a beautiful, what we call the communion of saints, a beautiful body of people praising God and working with God in a continuing way. When I die, I'm going to continue in a wonderful way of loving.
We'll pick right up with this in our remaining moments. More comments from each of our guests. The Sixth Sense continues to be the #1 movie in America heading into the Labor Day weekend. We'll be right back. This week on Larry King Live, tomorrow night, she's one of the funniest and most outspoken women around. Joan Rivers is the guest for the full hour with your phone calls. And don't forget, Saturday night on Larry King Weekend, a special encore presentation of my interview with Queen Noor of Jordan. It's all ahead on Larry King Live, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Okay, we know there are enough calling plans on this planet.
Yeah, it's way too complicated. Make it simple.
I will. You see, with new AT&T one-rate 7-cent plan, it's nothing but simple. It's 7 cents a minute all day, every day, whenever you call. There are no 10 numbers to dial.
Or those nickel rates that are sometimes a quarter.
No, that was not me. With AT&T one-rate, it's simple, period. So what was confusing is now not.
I like simple.
Simple is good.
And tomatoes.
Even better.
All day, every day. Call 1-800-41-RATE to enroll.
Rust-Oleum, the ultimate defense against weather.
To see inside the human heart, a doctor once needed a scalpel. But with ultrasound systems from Agilent Technologies, doctors can now spot problems that once went undetected. sometimes even fix them without surgery. To see inside the human heart is to sometimes see relief.
CNN and Entertainment Weekly, part of CNN's primetime news magazine series. Thursday at 8 Eastern, CNN and Entertainment Weekly explores showbiz trends and personalities. CNN and Entertainment Weekly, Thursday, 8 Eastern on CNN.
Let's get in a quick call for our guest, Chicago. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Go ahead.
Hi. I have a question for Reverend Larson. He had stated that anyone who sees dead people needs to be exorcised. Now, I was raised a Catholic, and in my beliefs, after Jesus was crucified, he rose after 3 days, talked to his apostles, walked the earth. Now, were these people nuts? Did they need to be exorcised? Was there something wrong with them that they saw Jesus Christ rose after 3 days of being crucified?
Reverend, how will you respond to that?
Of course, Jesus Christ was the exception. He said, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believes on me, though he were dead, he shall yet live. And that ought to be the emphasis of our age, that our loved ones who have known God are with God in the presence of God, not crawling under beds, not hanging in hallways, not sending cold chills up and down our spines, not wandering in corridors with blood-stained backs. That they are in the presence of God. And no, those people didn't need to be exorcised. They were with Christ himself.
Someone around them at that time might have laughed at them.
Well, I'm sure they did. And there were people who believed that they had made up the story of Christ's resurrection, but it's an historical, verifiable fact.
All right. Rabbi Kushner, we're almost running out of time. We'll have to have all three of you back just for an hour on many subjects. Are you optimistic as we approach the millennium? Are you optimistic about the nature of humankind and with all we get interested in and turn off from?
Larry, as I look at things, I see people making glacially slow progress, but it is in the right direction. Yeah, I think the 21st century will be better than the 20th. I hope we'll have learned from our experience in this century.
But
I think we have a lot of good stuff to look forward to.
Glacially slow.
Yes, but good.
And Father Manning, are you optimistic?
I'm very optimistic. I believe that the film speaks of the hunger that we have for a new life, the hunger for responsibility for what we've done. No, I'm very positive. I think things are going to move in a great way. The kingdom of God is alive and well and going to grow even more.
Are you as optimistic, Reverend Larson?
Yes, I am. And in fact, I think this movie has done the kingdom of God a favor because the devil sort of overstepped himself by promoting necromancy. It now has raised the issue of, is there life after death? And I'm very happy to tell people, for those who know Christ, they can live forever with faith in him.
Thank you all very much. Reverend Bob Larson, Rabbi Harold Kushner, and Father Michael Manning, earlier Sylvia Brown, and Haley Joel Osmond, the sensational, sensational young star of The Sixth Sense, along with Bruce Willis. Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow night, Joan Rivers pays a visit. It will not be dull. Good night.